If you're watching this video, you're probably tired of dying like this. And if you aren't, hey, nobody ever died from knowing too much. So, you want to deal with Zed, huh? Well, I've got bad news and good news. I'll give you the bad news first, because I do like delayed gratification in everything except for my Wall Street stocks. Zed is hard. Like, really hard. One small mistake and that Shredder cosplayer will have you by the balls. So the only way to deal with him is to really get inside his head and understand how he works, which is easier said than done. Now for the good news, Zed is hard. Like, really hard to play. Which means, if you can Zed better than he Zeds, you'll be able to out-Zed him and win. First off, the basics. Zed only really has pressure after level 3. Before that, he's very vulnerable. He'll try to farm with his shurikens from a distance, which are on an 8-second cooldown. If he ever steps up to last hit, you hit him with soldiers. Level 2, he takes his shadow, and will probably hold it until he has level 3, or he'll try to avoid bad trades with it. Rarely will he use his shadow to try and hit a double shuriken on you. Without his E, he can't get the electrocute proc, so there's not much point. Level 3 though, that's when you need to be on your toes. There's many resources out there which teach you in nitty-gritty detail how you can dodge his WEQ combo, but the basics are, just focus on dodging the shuriken that comes from him. If you don't let him hit one of his shurikens, not only does he miss out on that damage, he also doesn't proc electrocute. After his shadow disappears, you have 15 seconds of free reign to do whatever you want. Clear the wave, beat the ever-living shit out of him, you choose. However, it's imperative that you make him get his level 3 under his turret. Otherwise, he'll get a tremendous amount of pressure on you, zoning you from the wave. This dynamic continues until level 6. Depending on how well you've dodged his combos thus far, he may try to all-in you. Keep your distance, and the only way he can get to you is by throwing his W shadow forward or flashing. Whatever may be the case, as soon as you see that red X on top of you, you need to ult him away as soon as possible. Once you do that, just use your WEQ dash to get away. Remember that Zed is a snowball-oriented assassin, while Azir is a scaling control mage. If you farm well, you and Zed both going 0-0 in lane will give you an edge. But say that you did die. Maybe you mistimed your ult, maybe you got outplayed, Whatever the case, don't panic. Okay, maybe panic a little. So now Zed has a kill and is back in lane with lethality and is a real pain in the ass to deal with. Your poke is too weak now. His combo doesn't need the second shuriken to chunk your HP bar, and he can nuke the wave and roam whenever he wants. All you can realistically do in this scenario is farm from a distance, get a stopwatch as soon as you can, and play for scaling, while always warning your teammates when he goes missing. Giving 1 kill to Zed is really bad, giving 2 or 3 is much worse. So do everything in your power to prevent that, and try to play around your teammates. As for the build, it's really personal preference, but the one I like the most against him is bringing Comet and building for burst with Luden's Tempest and Shadow Flame, and Zhonya's at some point. This build will punish his mistakes just as hard as he'll punish yours, since Zed is still squishy. But unlike Zed, Azir is good at front-to-back teamfights and sieges even with this burst build. Going into a bit more detail in the runes, the reason why I bring Comet is for safety. It changes your trading combo from auto Q auto to just Q auto, which has much more range and leaves you less exposed. The damage from the Comet will land most of the time because he'll be slowed by the Q and almost compensates for the auto attack that you're sacrificing. On the secondary tree, it's just preference, but I do like perfect timing and biscuits every time. The biscuits help you with mana and sustain early on, and the free stopwatch will stop one of his attempts to kill you and make your hourglass 650 gold cheaper. And you don't need to be a mathematician or businessman to know that that's a lot of gold. Alternatively, you could bring Halo Blades, which does leave you a bit more vulnerable, but if you manage to get an early advantage, you'll be much more oppressive. With all that said, remember that all this I've said is really easy to say. Common knowledge even. Playing against a real Zed in a real game is another story. You will screw up, you will get solo killed, but that's just part of the experience. So watch your replays, use them to learn what you did wrong, and try to fix them the next time a Zed comes around. But say that, after all this, and 20 games against Zed, all horrible losses, you still don't know what to do against that B-movie Ninja Bossman number 3. Well, I left a neat little video in the description by Coach Curtis, an actual challenger player who made this nearly hour-long, in-depth guide to dealing with this champion. So go there if you need some more advice. That's it for me then. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and I hope to see you on the next one. Cheers!